So I'm Haley, and I'm jumping on today to talk to you about nursing parents and illness. There's so many parents out there that quickly realize, oh man, I got to keep parenting when I'm sick, and how do I do this? And then there's an extra layer there for the parents that are nursing. There's a lot of mixed reviews out there, or maybe not mixed reviews, but misconceptions out there that you should separate from your baby when you are nursing. And that is what we're going to talk about today, if that is true or false. I'm going to be talking more about, like I said, the acute illnesses today, and then we can jump into more like long-term diseases at the end. And then I just want to talk to you about ways that can kind of benefit you and help you during this phase. How do you sleep? How do you keep on top of your protein and hydration? And what are things that are going to help you feel better? Because you kind of are also getting depleted because your body's trying to produce milk, which takes a lot of energy out of you. And how can we come alongside you and give you some tips and tricks to make sure that you're feeling better while you're also like passing all this beautiful antibodies onto your baby. So that's what we're going to jump in today. So I just wanted to start with acute illnesses, things that are more virus sicknesses, such as like the common cold, the flu, COVID. Those are like the three that I'm thinking off the top of my head. But we're going to use those as an example. So the misconception is that when you become sick, that you and your newborn should be separated, that they should be out of the bedroom and away from you, and you shouldn't be kissing or touching them, and that they will be protected that way. But that is actually not true. What you want to do is you want to come together with your newborn, and you want to stay as a unit. Before you become sick, you have a period where you're contagious, and you don't know that you're about to be sick, but your body does, and your body starts producing these antibodies. The antibodies get released through your breast milk, and your baby's ingesting those antibodies, which is going to help them fight off the illness that they could potentially get. So oftentimes you hear things like, I became sick, but my newborn didn't really ever get anything, or they had a really mild cold, but nothing to the extent that I did. So that is because the antibodies that the baby was getting through the breast milk actually helped their body fight off what was going on. So it's really, really, really important that you stay as a unit, you nurse as much as possible, that you are not using milk that you kind of had freezed from last month during this period, but actually using the milk that you're producing now during your sickness, because that is really, really going to help your baby in the long run. Another thing that we kind of chat about, and this goes for more virus things and also more like foodborne illnesses or like diarrhea, stomach bug type of things, is just making sure that your hygiene is on point. Making sure that you're doing a ton of hand washing, you're not touching inside their mouth or doing diaper changes, just wash your hands a lot. This is, I don't want to say it's not common sense. People think it's common sense, but it's not common sense, because in your home, you're often not washing your hands all the time. That's more of a thing that people do a ton in public or hospital settings, but in your home setting, you don't think of it. So it's important to mention, because you do want to be washing your hands more often before you're handling your little one. And this is because illnesses are often contracted in the mouth or nose. So making sure you're washing your hands before you're even nursing, because you're going to be flipping out their lips and adjusting their latch and things like that. Us moms always like to go digging in their nose for, the little boogies that we have to get out. So it's just really important that you are washing your hands as much as possible. And then to jump into foodborne illnesses, one of the big concerns that I think is for a parent that's nursing and has more of a stomach bug, puking, diarrhea type of thing, is that you often become dehydrated way quicker than you normally would, because your output of fluids is so much, your volume is so much. So your hydration should be upticked during that time, going in to get fluids if you're having like a really hard time and it's been multiple days where you really can't keep anything down. Doing fluids is actually really important to protect yourself and also protect your milk supply. So if you're not keeping anything down, fluids can be another really great option. And then just making sure that your protein is, that you're getting something. Like I said, it can be really difficult if you are vomiting a lot or having a lot of diarrhea. So I definitely think talk to your midwife and figure out a plan. Like if you're on day 3 or 4 of having this, then it might be time to go in and get some like anti-nausea medicine, if you tried all the herbs and like homeopathy things, and then fluids. But there's a lot of homeopathy things that can be really helpful during this period. So to support you, your midwife can recommend those more natural remedies, and then as the next step would be to go in and get some extra things for more of the medical community to help you along. For all illnesses, I think that it is important to make sure that your sleep is really good. So depending on where your baby is in their stage of development, if they're like newborns within that first 3 months and they're still sleeping a lot, just get back in bed with your baby, sleep when they're sleeping, have your partner or a family member, friends come over and kind of take the baby so that you can get some good chunks of sleep. Pumping that day, again, you don't want to provide freezer milk that doesn't have the antibodies in it, but pumping that morning and just getting a couple ounces so that maybe they can finger feed the baby, syringe feed, bottle feed, whatever you're using, so that you can actually get a little extra sleep is really, really important. We always want to make sure that your sleep, your hydration, and your food is on point, and this is even more so in times that you're sick. Also increasing things like your vitamin C, elderberry, echinacea can be a great one, immune boosting teas. All of those immune boosting things can really support your body. Drinking bone broth, extra electrolytes and things like that will all really, really benefit you in the long run when you're trying to battle off this illness. Okay, so that's more of acute things. And then I want to share with you a couple like long-term illnesses and recommendations that I came across in my reading. One thing that I found really, really amazing was that like autoimmune disorders, endocrine disorders, and then metabolic disorders, breastfeeding isn't going to keep your baby from developing those, but they actually can like put off that illness in your newborn even longer. So like a person that is more apt to have type 1 diabetes or type 2 diabetes, they might not get that disease until way later in life because of the breast milk that they are providing. So if you have a metabolic autoimmune disorder, you want to keep nursing your baby because that's actually going to benefit them in the long run. So it's really, really important to keep nursing and not to stop if you think something's going on with you or you're potentially passing something on to your baby. You're not going to pass any of those autoimmune things on to your child, but you're actually going to benefit them in the long run. Genetics play a role from your health to their health. So breastfeeding can be one way where you can kind of support them along the way. And then a couple more things I just want to quickly run through would be tick-borne illnesses. You want to remain nursing. There's not a ton of research that supports that tick-borne illnesses pass through the breast milk, so it's okay to keep nursing. And then babies that have a parent with hepatitis A or B, the recommendation is that they get vaccinated in order to protect them from it being passed through breast milk. And then babies that have lactating parents that are have hepatitis C, there's a big controversy about that of if they should remain breastfeeding or not due to cracked nipples and bleeding and not getting into the baby's mouth and them contracting it, catching it through the blood that they are getting while they're nursing. There's studies that say that they should just be vaccinated, and then there's a lot of studies out there that just say that the evidence does not support any baby, like there's not a lot of studies out there that support any baby contracting hepatitis A, B, or C through nursing. So getting them vaccinated is a way to protect them, but the research also shows that scientific evidence doesn't always support that fact. That is that recommendation that is out there. So I just wanted to say that because that's really important. Again, HIV parents, it is recommended to nurse for 1 to 2 years. That recommendation has changed throughout the years, but that is the current recommendation. And then parents that are on antidepressants or anything like that, you should definitely contact your provider. There is a select group of medications for antidepressants that are okay for lactating parents. So you just want to go through and make sure you are on the correct one. Okay, I hope that was helpful, and I'm out of time, so I hope I gave you all the information and that you have a better understanding that you should continue nursing if you have an acute illness, that it will benefit you and your baby in the long run.